Hey everyone, just finished a very good Sunday morning chest session at Armor Gym here in beautiful sunny Knoxville. I'm going to go ahead and take you through it, what I did today, show you some video of each exercise so you can get an example of the breakdown on what I was looking for. I'm going to just narrate everything so I can tell you what I was focusing on and give you some things to think about the next time you go in for a chest workout. I split it up into 3 phases. So the first phase was just the first exercise, just a warm-up isolation movement. And then I did a lot of pressing. And I don't always favor a lot of pressing just because I know that too much of it will irritate my shoulder, especially if I really emphasize the stretch portion of the movement. So I'll talk you through what I did there. And then after the pressing, then I just went into some isolation stuff. So a lot of cables, some additional activation movements just to keep things going. So let's get right to it. Okay, so here we go. First move up is a pec deck fly. I'm doing this with a good bend in the elbow. I'm going to really focus on the contraction here. As I mentioned, the stretch portion of the range of motion on this, on any press, really kind of irritates my shoulder. So I really emphasize the squeeze. I did high sets, high reps. I started with somewhere between 6 and 8 sets, starting with about 15 to 20 reps, emphasizing that squeeze. And then, as the sets progressed, just trying to warm up the shoulders a little bit. This is all following my dynamic warm up. I'd go ahead and increase the weight a little bit, and then, just let the reps kind of fall where they may, aiming for fatigue, but knowing, okay, this is the first move in the workout, so I don't want to, totally blow everything here, but really trying to, this is where you can really kind of set the tone, get some good blood flow going. So that's the target on this movement here. So you can see a little bit of stupid face there. Then I moved over to this machine flat bench press. Has a couple of handles here. The first thing I did was experiment, just get down on my back and try all the handles out with the machine unloaded and see what felt best. So I opted for the neutral grip handle here. Again, emphasizing the squeeze up at the top, not going super heavy. Moderate reps, about 4 sets, 8 to 12, something like that. All reps should be a range. If you say, I'm always gonna aim for 12 reps, you're always gonna end up leaving stuff on the table that you should try and squeeze out. So always give yourself a range, and as long as you're within that range for the most part, you're in the right zone as far as weight. If you don't come close to that range, lighten it up. If you way overshoot the range, obviously pile a little bit of weight on there. Not the best angle here, but an incline press. This is 1 notch higher on the bench than I normally do. I usually go a little bit more flat for this. Targeting 8 to 10 here, going moderately heavy. I think this was my first set with about, I can't remember if this was 75 or 80. But again, focusing on control. I'm not trying to brute force the weight up. I want to make sure that the pecs are doing the work. Activation is key, making sure that they are really, we're forcing them to work. I mean, that's the thing. You don't want to just move weight. You want to make the muscle work. The third, I think this is also the final press. This is a machine incline press. Again, 2 options for handles. I moved the seat back a little bit. This one has an adjustable back. So what you're seeing there is kind of a soft deload at the in between each rep, where I take tension off the muscle and not coming back too far. Again, avoiding that stretch, focusing on activation and squeeze as you push forward on all of these movements. Keeping those shoulders retracted and pulled back is key throughout. So you can see, I'm kind of short arming this stuff, and that's what you do in order to keep the pecs activated. So now we move on to the isolation phase. So this Nautilus pec fly machine is awesome because, a pec fly is all about what happens with the upper arm, the humerus. How does it move in relation to the shoulder and the shoulder girdle? So the great thing here is the support pad, the pivot point, is placed at the elbow rather than in your hand. So it removes bicep tension. You don't have to worry about grip. You can just focus on making the pecs squeeze. You'll see I kind of, move forward. Sometimes I'm leaning forward a little bit. Sometimes I lean back a little bit in the reps. Just trying to maximize activation here. You can really feel this on that outer side of the pec. So, just because I did a pec deck fly early in the workout doesn't mean I can't come back and hit it again. So don't be afraid to repeat something, variation or not, in the same workout. This is a Venn press, also known as a plate pincher. There's a lot of things you could call it. I'm doing it with a dumbbell here because I wanted to force a little bit of separation between my hands. Going light on this is the first part of a superset, but going relatively light just because adding weight just makes your anterior delt work harder, and that's not the goal here. The goal is inward pressure on the dumbbell to really, really get those pecs firing here. And I do this right before going into a cable fly. This is more of a traditional cable fly. Nothing too fancy about it, except There we go. Come on, Darren. Get in the frame. Get in the camera frame, dude. So neutral grip, elbows bent a little bit. Very similar to the pec deck fly from the start of the workout as far as the general path of motion and what I'm trying to accomplish here. So again, quality squeeze, decent stretch. Nothing ridiculous, but a decent stretch. Just making sure that I can get the maximum activation possible and try and bleed as much performance, as much contractilability out of the muscle as you possibly can. Next movement, sticking with the same cable setup here, but dropping the pulleys down just a couple notches and going with the supinated grip, underhand. So this changes things, of course. Grip is really important, and what I'm going to do here after this, you can feel when you do this movement, you can feel how it targets different parts of the pecs. It's very easy to feel that. What I'm going to do here after I kind of hit my target as far as reps on the fly, I'm going to go into a press movement, not alter the grip, but you can see here, there we go, just right into a little supinated underhand press, just to try and burn out a little bit. The set's done, I've gotten what I could. The press is easier than the fly, so even though I'm fatigued, I can still bang out a few quality reps here just because the lightweight is pretty easy to move. But again, focusing on activation always. If I sound like a broken record, there's a reason for that. And then an underhand low pulley fly here. The key here, what I'm trying to do is maintain as much stability in my body as I possibly can. So from the feet up through the hips, up through the torso, trying to maintain as much stability and control as I possibly can, and really just make the pecs do the work. So again, relatively lightweight. I could go heavier on this, but when I do that, the shoulders take over, the hips and lower back get more engaged, nothing that I want. So keeping this relatively low. I find this one a great finisher. It works wonders when I do it. Sometimes at the start of the workout, as a warm-up, kind of like I did with the pec deck fly earlier, or as a finisher here. And then we're going to close things out with some dips. Not the best quality here, but I did a few sets here, just burn out, just to try and get everything done. So that's the workout in a nutshell. Everything's about 3, 4, maybe 5 sets. That opener was about 7 or 8. I'm just trying to push some volume, but there you go. So give it a shot next time you're in the gym.